Good morning and welcome. Leading things off, a guard at a prison, Rikers Island, and other prisons, such as Sing Sing, have tested positive for COVID-19. And many groups have come together to call on the city and state to release prisoners. Joining us now, we have Hamza Saldana, the director of the Release Aging People in Prison campaign. Welcome. Can you give us your take on what you believe is happening in the prisons right now, circled around COVID-19?
Yes, but I also want to add that I just got reports from people that are incarcerated at Greenhaven Correctional Facility.
Yeah.
That 4 guards were reportedly tested for COVID virus.
Yeah.
So, my take on this is that the Department of Correction in New York City and New York State are not prepared for this crisis. So what they do is take security measures that amount to punitive measures against the incarcerated people and their families.
Yeah.
The first thing they normally do is to suspend all visits. And that creates a crisis in itself because the separation of families during such a serious and deadly health crisis it's an extra burden on those who are incarcerated and their families.
Yes. So they just started testing now. So if they just started, that means there's been people walking around with it for a long time. And they're just finding out that people...
they started testing the staff. You know, I don't know where they're doing any testing in any correctional facility.
Yeah. Were you a former security officer or correction officer there at one of the prisons?
No. I'm formerly incarcerated.
Yeah. Okay.
I was released from prison roughly 2 years ago after 38 years of incarceration.
So now you speak on behalf of the prisoners all over.
Yes, because I understand the seriousness and the impact that this virus will have on those who are incarcerated. During my incarceration, you know, the AIDS, HIV virus hit the prison systems in New York with devastating results. Some people that I've known very well passed away during this crisis. I was also incarcerated during a hepatitis outbreak that resulted in more deaths, tuberculosis outbreaks, and in all these health crises, the prison administration were not prepared.
Yeah, I mean, it's an enclosed area, and people can catch things right away. But so, are you working? Who are you talking to about the release of some of these prisoners?
Well, we're organizing a collective demand that the governor grant clemencies to the elderly, foremost the elderly, because we're talking about people who have already languished in prison for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and in a few cases approaching 50 years of incarceration. Yeah. And most of these men and women have age-related ailments, chronic illnesses, illnesses that compromise their immune system. They are the most vulnerable to this disease.
Yeah.
The virus targets the elderly and those whose systems have been compromised. So why not release these men and women who will almost certainly die when this virus hits the prison system?
Are they
and
capable?
We are also calling for to advance the parole release process. You know, we have men and women who are already parole eligible, but are being denied parole.
Yeah.
expedite their release now.
So who would be you? You would have to contact the governor. Is the governor in charge
Yes.
of that release, or the mayor?
We're calling
city.
on the governor. We're also involved on the city level in calling on Mayor de Blasio to take the same action.
Yeah.
Why keep these men and women knowing that they're in an environment that when this virus hits, it's going to kill people?
So when you say the elderly in prison, what is that? 60 and over, or what?
No. The Department of Correction defines someone elderly at 55 years old. So we're going to go by that definition.
Okay. So 55 and up.
Right.
Does it fall into any category? I mean, they're serving time for like petty theft or something like that, or how does it work?
Well, the ones that have languished in prison for decades, they're not in there for nonviolent crime. They're in there for violent crime.
Yeah.
And I think, we have to understand that the majority of these men and women have not only transformed their lives, but they have helped a generation of younger people transform their lives. Some of my mentors are still incarcerated. If I was released, they should have been walking out of prison alongside with me.
So what's the next action? What's the plans? What are you going to do next?
Well, the plans is to galvanize a collective effort of not only a coalition of activists and advocates, but also families who have incarcerated loved ones, as well as some of the legislators who are supporting our efforts to call on Governor Cuomo and the mayor to take these life-saving measures.
Well, Jose, we wish you a lot of love and luck with all of that, and we hope that your wishes are, come true. But you have to call the governor, and you have to call, the governor, because he's in charge of all the state prisons, right? And then the local prison, Rikers Island, all the jails that are on Rikers Island and throughout the 5 boroughs, the mayor's in charge of that. Is that right?
That's correct. And those on Rikers Island have been convicted of any crime.
All right. How do people reach you if they want to respond and help out?
Well, I would invite them to our website, rappcampaign.com. That's RAPP campaign.com. And all the information is available right there to reach us.
Jose, thank you so much. Jose Hamza Saldana.
And thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll come back with more right after this.